Hearing from not too many viewers, but some key viewers who say we're not talking about Joe Biden enough. If you want to know the chronicles of Joe Biden, this is probably not your show. Joe Biden, as you know by now, we all know, is a figurehead. He's not really calling the shots. But since a few of you asked for it, Joe Biden mumbled some things about COVID today and then did this.
What happened to your promise from 7 weeks ago that if Democrats flipped the Senate, the checks were going out the door?
Come on, Peter, thank you.
Ignored questions and then walked right up to somebody without a mask on. Remember, he's the guy, he said, right? 100 days, mask up, mask up. Walking around without a mask and getting pretty close to somebody. All right, that's your Joe Biden update. Much more importantly, the Equality Act passed the House of Representatives today. Now, it may have a great name, but this is not a good bill. It faces a very steep battle in the United States Senate. This is the one that could let men play in women's sports. Yeah, especially children. It is so inherently flawed. But again, it's got that name, equality, and equality sounds great, particularly when it comes to gender issues. We saw an interesting little standoff between two House members, one a Democrat and one a Republican, in the run-up to the vote on the Equality Act. Take a look. Ooh, that's freshman Congresswoman Marie Newman, and she seemed so pleased with herself, and she orchestrated it that she was right across from Marjorie Taylor Greene, and she planted the trans flag, celebrating transgender issues. Did you know they have a flag? Yes, they do, and there it is. Seems a little bit ridiculous to me, but there it is. Marjorie Taylor Greene got the message, Republican. She'll be on the show in a little bit, by the way. And she had a response that I thought was, well, take a look. Let's take a look at that sign. Take it full, please. There are two genders, male and female. Trust the science. Now, in today's culture, who do you think's winning? The Congresswoman with the trans flag in honor of her daughter who made a decision about her biology and psychology when she was just 14 years old? Or Marjorie Taylor Greene, who stated the scientific fact that there are two genders? Let's take a look at the headlines. Representative Marie Newman displays transgender pride flag after Marjorie Taylor Greene insults daughter with transphobic comments. Marjorie Taylor Greene's dehumanizing attack on Representative Marie Newman's transgender daughter explained. She did no such thing, and you can see, quite frankly, in the hallway, that was arguably harassment, right? What are they sticking up flags and posters in the hallways of Congress? Seems like, I don't know. I sense once again they are picking on Marjorie Taylor Greene. But here's the deal. There actually might be some coming together between conservatives and liberals. Yes, people who voted for Hillary Clinton, even Barack Obama and Joe Biden. Some of them are getting really freaked out about what's going on in America right now. We call it a wake-up call for the woke. New York Times printed an extraordinary story today about Smith College. Inside a battle over race, class, and power at Smith College, a prestigious all-female school in Massachusetts. Well, here's what happened. There was a student. She happened to be African-American. She was there during summer session 3 years ago, and she decided to have lunch in a cafeteria that was reserved for summer students, a summer program that was independent of Smith College regular students. That was a written policy. A security guard and a janitor apparently asked her to leave the room, and all hell broke loose. Investigations, lawsuits, law firms got really, really ugly. A lot of innocent people were branded as racists. Kind of interesting, though, that the Times decided to do this story. They're taking some heat for it, guess what? From the left. From the left. A lot of weird things are going on in society right now. People are sensing that their race, whether it's black or white, is suddenly a liability. You're going to hear now from Jody Shaw. She is a former employee of Smith College. Smith College is far left, but there is a limit, right? It's one thing far left if you're certain issues, but should you be judged on your whiteness? Apparently that's what's happening up there right now and in a lot of other places.
You cannot subject people to trainings where you're telling them that they are bad, or shaming them, rather, because they don't do something you expect them to do based upon their skin color. You can't do that to people. It's not right. This has now invaded almost every institution in our country. It is in the medical field, it is in the publishing field, it's in the tech field, it's in the schools, the legal field, public schools, private schools, the colleges, of course, the government. It's everywhere. Because I know that you all didn't vote for the same person. But you all came together because you all know that what's going on at Smith College and what's going on at all of these other institutions is wrong.
Training sessions where you have to come to terms with your whiteness, which is inherently racist, according to some people. Now, she made certain references, and I'm going to make a few assumptions here myself. She's a liberal. She leans left. But this is too much. They've gone too far. Good people are being made to feel bad about things they can't control. Their race, their sexual orientation, their gender. Those things really should be off the table. Instead, this country continues to have a ridiculous conversation about race instead of a serious one. Started last summer.
Racism is everywhere. Racism is everywhere. And we need to fight against it.
A Canadian young man made that statement, and suddenly the NHL, the most racist place in the world, and every other institution adopting this new language and the Black Lives Matter logo, corporate America going into business with these folks. Whatever happened to just talking about the things that brought us together, like hockey. Hockey, by the way, is terrific. I never once thought about race when I was watching a hockey game. Maybe I should have been. No, of course not. Something really weird has happened to our country, and people are finally catching on. And giving in to the mob, by the way, is not the answer. We heard that from Jody Shaw, a young woman who probably has nothing in common with this fellow, a soon-to-be former chief of police here in New York City. During the height of the riots last summer, he bowed before the mob. He thought that this would look great for the cameras, and I guess it did. Made no difference. It was purely symbolic because guess what? A couple of days later, while he was arresting somebody, he got beaten up. He got beaten up. And now today, a few months later, the chief will soon be moving on to new challenges. The chief will be retiring from the NYPD, and he's being replaced by, I am told, a very effective police executive by the name of Rodney Harrison. He will be the new chief of the department. All right? I think kneeling for the mob is wrong, and we got to stand up to it. We got to stand up to it. And people are being slighted in all kinds of ways, from being denied jobs to the way they write about certain groups. Have you noticed this? The capital B and the lowercase w. The capital B and the lowercase w. Take a look. Whenever you refer to somebody who is black, well, the B must be capitalized, okay? Let's look at the USA Today, not known as a liberal paper. See that? Okay, next. Black community, capital B. Next up, we have another story about black activists and black scholars. Okay, now let's take a look at how they refer to white people. While, lowercase w. Let's see. Next up, please. White families, lowercase w. What's next? Again, with a lowercase w. What is going on here? So we got the uppercase B for black people and the lowercase w for white people. All right, I went to the Associated Press. They write this kind of, they write the guides and the standards. Here's the deal. AP's style is now to capitalize black in a racial, ethnic, or cultural sense, conveying an essential and shared sense of history, identity, and community among people who identify as black, including those in the African diaspora and within Africa. Read it a bunch of times. I really still don't get why they're doing it and what this is all about. And neither do a lot of people. Right now in America, we are having a very silly conversation about race to avoid having a more important, serious one that could actually help people. And here's the deal. There are not enough woke elites out there to win elections, and that's why Democrats want to bring all kinds of people here, no matter what, legally, illegally, come on in. I love immigration, by the way, legal immigration, and I hate talking about race so much. I really do. Race, gender, there's so many more interesting things going on in the world, don't you think? But that's what it's all about right now. Can I share with you one favorite moment from the Republican National Convention? One of the reasons why I do miss President Trump. When those beautiful people from around the world were sworn in on live television, I believe, during the Republican National Convention. People from all over the world. Doesn't matter. As long as you come here legally. America really doesn't care, or should not care, what you look like. We're not about the things you can't control, huh? How does that sound?
You just watched Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news channel, now in more than 70 million homes. You can get Newsmax TV on your cable system or check your cable guide. And if your system doesn't carry Newsmax, call them, tell them you want Newsmax TV, because we're real news for real people.